Good morning to you all. I'm Joke Ramboud, Strategic Portfolio Manager at Avantor. Happy to have you with us in this webinar about Brady RFID solutions today. We will be recording this webinar and send it out to you afterwards. Please submit your questions anytime and we will do the Q&A in the end of this session. If you want to contact us, please contact us at webinar@avantorsciences.com. So we have with us today from Brady, Isabel Tirsago, a local product expert Benelux at Brady, and Fearghal Jones. He will guide you through this webinar today. He's the territory sales manager in the Netherlands for Brady. So I'm happy to hand over now the word to Fearghal. Please don't hesitate to put any questions. Thank you and have a nice webinar.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Joke, for the short introduction. I have set up a small agenda for this morning. I will start with the Brady introduction. Then I will tell you something more about RFID and how does it work. I will go through the different RFID types, typical RFID system, and I try to give you an understanding about the usage. I will address the challenges in the industry of the laboratory and healthcare. I will present you some RFID use cases within the industries. And finally, I will give you a short overview of our RFID solutions and we'll take you through a short hands-on session. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and we will answer them after the presentation. Brady was founded in 1914. The headquarters is located in Milwaukee, the US. Right now I'm presenting from our EMEA headquarters located in Zeeland, Belgium. And Brady is a New York Stock Exchange company since 1984. We have more than 6,500 employees globally, and we have operations in 32, maybe 33 countries. Our mission at Brady is to identify and protect people, products, and places. As you can see, it is a very broad overview of solutions. We have patient identification, signage, printers, labeling solutions for in labs, lockout tagout, print and apply systems, and even workplace safety systems as bumps. I will now ask Isabel, the moderator, to launch the first poll. And the first poll is, do you already use RFID in your facility? And we'll give you some time to answer the question. The answer is 19% yes and 81% no. So a lot of people to convince them. Well, the reason why you're here, you want to know more about RFID. So I'm going to explain you a little bit what it is and how does it work. RFID stands for radio frequency identification. So to simplify it, you attach a tag or a label to an asset, and the energy, the radio waves from the antenna triggers the tag to send your information back. So the antenna receives the stored data from the tag and transmits it to the reader in this case. And from the reader, you can transmit the data to, for example, a computer database or any database you would like. So if the tag is not being triggered by the antenna, it basically does nothing. An RFID reader is the engine of an RFID system. So you have two types of RFID readers. One, you have the mobile handheld readers. So they have the reader and the antenna in one. And the second option is to work with fixed readers. And fixed readers you can add with antennas. So if you want to cover a whole area, you can place a fixed reader and add it with a couple of antennas to cover the whole premises and read every tag you would like continuously. There are a couple of types of technology. The first one, low frequency, that's one we don't use because it has a very slow data transfer. The high frequency, also known as NFC, like your payment with your bank card, or if you use Apple Pay, you use NFC. It has a read range of approximately 5 to 10 centimeters. And the other one is ultra high frequency. That's the one we use the most because the main advantage is you have a read range up to 11 or 12 meters. And it has a very fast data transfer. On the picture on the right side below, you see active and passive RFID. I will try to explain you a little bit more about that. So when you use active RFID, it uses a battery and it sends out a signal. While using passive RFID, that transmit data only energized by the reader, as I shortly told you. So it sends sensor information back to the reader every time the sensor is being read. An advantage of the active solution is it has a very wide read range. It goes up to 100 meters plus, while with passive, it has a read range of 11 to 12 meters. The downside is it's extremely pricey. It's between 25 and 50 euros a tag, while the passive solution is below the 5 euros. Another big difference is with the passive solution, you don't have any maintenance, because if you use an active solution, you need to replace batteries once in a while, and that could be a very costly solution. And with passive, that's not the case. NFC versus ultra high frequency. Well, I spoke about the read range already, but the main difference is with NFC, you can scan one item at a time. And with UHF, you can scan many items at one time. So for example, if you have a box or a cabinet with all items stored in it, you don't even have to put a lid of the lid. You can just scan through the lid and pick up all the items. So NFC is mostly used for product authentication or registration, while UHF is mostly used for track and trace, asset management, inventory management. And the difference is with NFC, you need a smartphone or a smart device. And with UHF, you need specific fixed or handheld readers. It doesn't work with a smart device. A lot of customers use barcodes, and that could be a perfect solution. But why do you need RFID? What's the advantage? When can you switch to an RFID solution? Well, with barcodes, you always have to have line of sight because it's a one-on-one scan. You scan one item at a time. While RFID, you can scan many items simultaneously, and you don't need to have line of sight. As I just said, if it's a closed box, you can just scan through it. The other thing is with barcodes, you can read it only, and with RFID, you can add information to the tag. You can update the tag. And it's very easy to copy a barcode because you simply take your smartphone, you take a picture, and you have copied the barcode. But while using RFID, it's a little bit harder because every chip contains a unique identifying number. The read range, also a difference. With barcodes, it goes up to 1 or 2 meters, depending on your type of barcode scanner. And with the RFID, up to 11, 12 meters, as I already told you. So in a very simple picture, the difference is barcode scanning one at a time, RFID scanning, UHF, is what I always say, bulk scanning. How does a typical RFID system look like? First of all, you need to select an RFID label that meets the requirements of the application. So for example, what's the surface you want to attach a label to? Does it come in contact with UV? Do you need some, is there an influence of temperature, high or low? Does it come in contact with chemicals, other liquids? So that's all things you need to take into account. The second one is RFID printers. Would you like to have an RFID printer on premises that also can encode labels? Yes or no? RFID readers. Do you need a RFID handheld reader or do you need fixed readers? And last but not least, you need software. I mean, if you capture data from your tags, you want to move the data somewhere into your applications. So we can help you building software to communicate between systems. Now I have a couple of slides to try to give you an understanding about the base usage. I've selected the application asset tracking. And on the other screen, you see a green asset, and well, there's only one, so tracking that asset is quite easy. But what about tracking a lot of assets? That's a little bit more difficult, but what about if they're moving? So you see they're moving in the area, but they can also move outside of the area, or they can be one moving into the area. So that's very hard to keep track. If you use RFID, then you start with giving all the items a unique identifying number, a smart label, for example. And you give the place a lot of antennas so you can read the whole area. In this case, we've chosen for fixed readers and antennas. So we can now track every asset with using the unique ID and the antennas and readers. So if item I2 is moving from antenna 2, I will do it again so you can see it. From antenna 2 to 3 to 4, it's being picked up by all the antennas. So that's why you can track and trace your assets. In this case, we've chosen for fixed readers, but you can also use a handheld, a manual reader, and then you can, for example, when you're in the read range, you can scan an item, in this case X3, and it gives all the information you have stored on the tag or stored in the database that communicates with the tag. Also, at the other one, I4, no, what is it? Yeah, I4, it gives you all the information you need from your database. I think it's time for the second poll. So I would like to ask Isabel to launch it. Would you consider using, oh no, sorry, based on the RFID benefits, I've already told you, more is coming, but would you consider using RFID? I will give you some time to answer.
%45 says yes, 6% says no, and 48% says maybe.
Okay, 45% says yes. Well, we're going somewhere then. Okay, thank you. A lot of times I get the question from customers, in which type of markets can you apply RFID solutions? And frankly, the honest answer is probably in every market or in many markets, because everywhere where people have high value assets, they want to track where it is. They want to generate data on usage or maintenance. They want to do theft control. They want to keep an eye on things. And they want to keep an inventory of their assets, because you would like to know, where are your samples? Where's my inventory? You want to know that your stock is at the level and you can see it real time. So the challenges in the industry, in laboratory and healthcare, are the following. I mean, RFID technology, it provides an end-to-end solution to increase your accuracy, visibility, and security. And it addresses a number of challenges in the industry. And with RFID, you can improve some of the applications. For example, you can improve sample tracking. You want to know where your samples are. You don't want to manually scan your samples. Asset management. You want to know where your assets are, if everything is in a room that should be there. Inventory management. That's also, you want your stock to be real. You want to have an insight in your stock real time. And also authentication. There's a possibility to secure your RFID tags or labels. So if we go to, for example, a lab application for RFID sample tracking, on the pictures you see that in this case the customer needs to pick every single sample out of the tray and scan it with a barcode. It can evenly be scanned from inside the fridge or the freezer, but it depends on the amount of metal that's there, because that interferes the signal. So while using RFID, you will never lose a sample again. You will locate them very quick, and you can perform your stock audits very rapidly and accurately. And a lot of customers use also barcodes for optimum security. So they have an RFID label, but they print the barcode as well, even human readable text as well. So if the RFID antenna doesn't work, you always have a backup. Another application is asset tracking. The problem is with this customer that manual tracking is very time consuming. That could be medical equipment, medications, patient specimens, etc. So on the picture, you see a couple of assets. What we have done is we have identified the assets with different types of labels, and we have equipped the room with fixed readers and scanners. So at the entrance on the door, there's a reader with 2 or 3 antennas. So every time an asset is being removed from the room, it's being picked up and every time when an asset is entering the room, it's being picked up as well. So the benefit is that the customer can cut a lot of time finding items such as the beds or medical equipment. Another example is inventory management. On the left side, you see the chemical containers, and each chemical container is provided with a barcode. Well, as I said earlier, you have to pick up every medical container, scan the item, and in this case, the lady scanned 50 items in 90 seconds with a barcode scanner. On the right side, you see the same lady working with an RFID solution, and in the same time, she checked the entire inventory, and she scanned 163 chemical containers. Also on the screen, you see your inventory, and you can see when something is missing or if everything is there in place that it should be. The last one in RFID is the authentication. RFID gives you the ability to encode and secure information on the RFID chip. So that means you can protect sensitive information of invaluable materials. You can do it by encrypting the data. You can, for example, lock memory. You can use password protection. So there are multiple options to secure the information stored on your label or in your database. I think it's time for poll number 3. So Isabel, could you launch the poll, please? And where do you see the most potential? Is that laboratory, hospitals, or somewhere else? We will give you some time.
So the majority goes out to laboratory with 60%.
60% laboratory. Okay, good to know. Thank you for answering the question. I will take you through an overview of our RFID products and solutions. These are a couple of standard labels we have. So there are some general lab labels and also some specific lab labels like labels for slides or labels for petri dishes. Next to the standard portfolio we have, I think in most of the cases, the solution will be a custom solution, and that's because some customers would like a different size of label. Some customers would like to add memory or don't add memory, or have a bigger read range or a smaller read range. So then we have to select another inlay, another antenna, because when you have an antenna that has a big read range, it has an influence on the price. But it's good to know we have some standard solutions, and otherwise every custom solution is possible. How is an RFID label built up? It's practically built up the same way as a normal label. We have our label liner, then we have our adhesive, and then we place an RFID inlay inside the label. And optional, we can use a sensor. For example, that could be a temperature sensing label or a sensor, or a moisture sensing sensor. And then you have your label material and then your printable surface where you can print text, barcodes, etc. In our portfolio, we have some standard RFID smart solutions. For example, we have temperature sensing labels. You see it on the top picture. In this picture, you see a handheld reader that's being used, but you can also use fixed readers and antennas, so you can continuously monitor the temperature on specific items or in specific areas. The second one is moisture detection. To be clear, that's not humidity, it's just moisture, to detect if something is being wet or dry. For example, there is a German car producer who uses that kind of solution, because while constructing the car, the construction, at the end of the product line, they want to test if the critical parts are waterproof. So on the critical parts, they've placed some moisture detection labels. And finally, it goes through the car wash, and then it's being read by readers, and they can see if the critical parts are waterproof, yes or no. If no, then they have to go back to the drawing board and start, well, not all over again, but adjust some construction points. And the last one is we have RFID LED labels, so you can find things easier. For example, if you, in this case, you have a warehouse with very small items. So if you walk with your mobile scanner through the corridor and you select an item and you're within the read range, then the LED light is blinking and you know you have to pick that product at that time. We've also got RFID printers. There's a difference between a label printer and an RFID printer. A label printer just prints the text, barcodes, etc. But an RFID printer can also print the text and barcodes, but can also encode and program the labels if you want to give them another unique identifier number or your own range. We've got printers for NFC, UHF encoding, also on metal and off metal. So we offer a wide range of RFID printers. You've already seen it. We've got different types of readers and antennas. On the picture, you see a fixed reader and antenna, and you see a mobile reader. All those products are being manufactured in Europe, and it's our own developed RFID modules and antennas, so no outsourcing at other companies. Software, we have our own middleware software, which can provide you for a connection between several software programs or systems. And you can also use the software, for example, for asset tracking or inventory management. Most of the time, also customers need custom applications or integration to let two systems talk to each other, and that's what we can provide as well. Some of the benefits of passive labels versus active. Well, they're very functional. You can use it in a variety of applications. You can use it in harsh environments. For example, if it should be resistant to certain temperatures, resistant to chemicals, solvents, fluids. And it has quite a low maintenance because you don't have to change batteries, and that's also why it's low scalable. It's much cheaper than the active solution. It has a wide flexibility because you can attach a label on a cardboard surface, on a metal surface, on plastic. You can attach it on a curved surface, on a flat surface. So it's a very flexible solution, and the readability is perfect. I mean, you can read from 10, 11, 12 meters. So that's perfect. So at the end, it's a budget-friendly solution, and you have a quick return on your investment. What are the general RFID benefits? Well, it increases operational efficiency. As told earlier, if you need to do an inventory check and using barcodes, you have to scan them one at a time. And with the RFID solution, you can scan multiple items at a time, so you spend a lot time less do your inventory checking. It eliminates human error. There's no human action involved. Even in capturing data, you can use fixed readers to just capture your data continuously. It gives you also access to real-time data, and with that real-time data, it offers you insights for better decision making. And in the end, it reduces operational cost because if some high-value assets are being lost, you have to replace them. You have to make investments that are probably unnecessary because the items are still in the premises, but nobody knows where. And it increases your return on investment. Well, I will try to, this almost always the most exciting part, because now I'm going to switch from a presentation to my scanner. And just to show you very quick how the RFID scanning works, how I can locate a sample, and how I can do the inventory checking. Normally, you will see my scanner display on your screen. I will tap scan, and I will show you how quick items can be picked up. I've got 5 samples on the table right here, but I have a couple of more in my suitcase on the floor. So if I press start, you see it will be picking up a lot of items in a short time. There's a little bit of delay because of the the TeamViewer connection. So now you see it has been picked up 57 items already. So for example, if I want to locate a sample, I can select a sample. I'm moving a little bit from the sample. I can say locate the tag, and it's a proximity sensor like a Geiger teller. So if I press start, it's going to look for the sample, and when I arrived at the sample, it gives a signal. So that's when you can locate samples very quick. Then we have, for example, if you want to do an inventory check, I've created a list. And I want to track all the items. These are the 5 items I would like to track. I press item tracking, and I would like to track all 5. And he said, well, all 5 are being found. If I will remove one, then I will track again. And 1 item is lost. That's correct. All right. That was the hands-on part. I will go back to my presentation. And I think that was the last part. First of all, I would like to thank you for attending. And if there are any questions, we can discuss them right now. I don't know, Isabel, if you have questions in the box.
I will check.
Yes.
Yes, we have some questions.
All right. Can you read them?
They ask if it's possible to have the slides afterwards, but I think
Yes, the slides will be shared with all of you from out Avantor VWR. Yes.
then we get some feedback, but that is something that we will have to.
Okay, and that's it?
Yes, no further questions.
Okay. Well, again, thank you very much for attending, and from my side, have a nice day. I will give the word back to Joke. She will conclude the presentation. Thank you.
So thank you all for listening. I hope you had an interesting session. You will receive an email with the link of the recording so that you can listen to it whenever you wish. Also, you can find it on the homepage of vwr.com. You just have to select event selection and then enter the webinars subsection. If you need any other technical information or any topic, please write us at webinar@avantorsciences.com, or you could contact one of our local VWR contacts in the list of the last slide. Don't hesitate to contact them if you have questions or if you would like to investigate further options with RFID. I wish you all a very nice rest of the day. Goodbye.